Hey Thrivers, you're listening to episode 53. Today we're talking to a mom boss turned a business coach, the owner of the Nelson Company, Mrs. Allison Nelson. Allison and her hubby started a graphic tee business about a year ago, and they wanted to do things right. So before jumping into their business, they found a mentor and they researched and learned how to truly launch a business with a strong foundation. They've experienced success with their business model, and Allison is now helping other moms reach their goals and step out of the 9-to-5 to pursue their passions. She is here with us today to share her story and offer tips and advice for establishing a firm foundation in your own business, whatever that might be.
Welcome to The Thrive, a podcast for working moms. This is for all the women and moms listening. If you work from home, in an office, run your own business, or are the CEO of your family, this podcast is for you. Because at the end of the day, all moms are working moms. Rachel and Christine invite you to celebrate the victories, get advice, listen to their mom fails, and to know you aren't alone, to thrive in your everyday life.
This episode is brought to you by Namaste Organized. Namaste Organized offers friendly, professional service to organize and modernize any space. Whether you're a single parent doing it all, a blended family with a full house, or an entrepreneur growing your business, a well-organized space will allow you to focus on what is most important to you. A professional organizer provides the efficiency you need to pursue your passions. Together, Melissa Groff can help you develop a system that works well for you and looks pretty too. Trust us, her own home is a testament to this. If you want some beautiful home inspiration, be sure to follow her at Namaste Organized on Instagram, where she offers a glimpse into her life on a regular basis with practical tips and information for anyone looking to declutter. Thank you, Melissa, for sponsoring our show and for teaching us that less is more. If you're ready to lose the weight of clutter and disorganization and live your best life, get in touch with Melissa Groff today at namasteorganized.com. Hey Thrivers, you're listening to episode number, what is this, Christine?
50-something.
It's Rachel and Christine, and we have with us a special guest today. Her name is Allison Nelson, and she is the owner and founder of the Nelson Company.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Allison. It's so good to connect with people, especially someone who isn't local to Lancaster where we are.
Yeah.
So we're so excited to have you. Can you share a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Yes. So I'm Allison Nelson, obviously, and I'm the co-owner of the Nelson Company. I'm a wife. I am a mom to a little girl. She's 3. I am a New Yorker originally, but I have been displaced to New England. I live in Connecticut now, but I've been here for about 7 years, and I'm getting the hang of it.
I must say you don't have like an accent at all.
No, I don't. You know what? It's funny. I think about that sometimes. I'm like, why don't I really have an accent? And I learned that you really talk like the people you're surrounded by. And when I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but I moved to the Westchester County area, like the suburbs area, when I was young. And so I was around more people who didn't really have that thick Brooklyn accent. And so even though my parents have it, I don't. But my husband has a very thick Long Island accent. And so sometimes it comes out. It depends on the situation.
Well, feel free to listen to this episode because I'd love to hear it.
Yes, I love that you said sometimes it comes out because I only lived in New Jersey for a handful of years. But my friends from home here in Pennsylvania used to tell me that if we were out drinking, they're like, oh, Jersey Rach is coming out.
That is one of the times. Yes. One of the times. Yeah.
Oh
and sometimes I'll hear my daughter with like she'll do the flat A, which is like a very New England, Connecticut thing. And I correct her every time. I'm like, no, don't do that. don't speak like that, please.
That's so funny. So your daughter is 3.
She's 3. Yep, absolutely. She's 3. She is, she's crazy. So
we get that.
A good girl. Yeah. I love every opportunity that I get to talk to women in this special stage, like being a mom, being a boss. It's a rare breed, of us. And I think, support is, you can never get enough of it. And so for us to be having this conversation, I'm truly honored, really.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I feel like we are honored to have you on the show.
Thanks.
Can you tell us a little bit about, for our listeners that may not know you or what your company is, like how you got to this place where you are, that you have your own lifestyle brand, you do coaching. How did you get to this place in your career?
Yeah. So before I had a child, I was in education. So I was a program developer. I did develop programs for college and career readiness for school districts. And when I stayed home with my daughter, I was on maternity leave, and I decided to stay home and not go back. There was kind of a lot going on there with, they wanted me to come back at full speed. I was trying to figure out if I could come back as a consultant so I could be home with my daughter, and they did not like that idea. So it ended up not working out. But, my daughter she was almost 2. I was kind of home with her, being the stay-at-home mom, just feeling kind of crappy about the way that women treat each other. And my husband kind of felt the same way at work. We just wanted people to lighten up, take care of themselves, because then if you take care of yourself, then you're taking care of the people in your home, and then they can go out and take care of the people that they see on a regular basis, and it just would make the world a better place. So
Amen.
So we thought, how do we add things to people's lives that can make them smile? So we started with the blog, but we thought the best way to spread that message would be through giftable items and through graphic tees. And of course, also having just had a baby, I really wanted to find a graphic tee that was soft, long, flattering, all the things that moms want and need.
Yes.
And
tea.
yeah, I felt so many t-shirts and so much different fabric. I can't even tell you how many hours I spent on that and money spent on samples. But I wanted to make sure I did it really the right way. So we're really known for our special t-shirt that is really all of those things. Mm-hmm. And what was super interesting to me, I started the business about a year ago, but more than anything, I got asked how I built the business. I did not have any capital. I was home with my daughter. I had little to no childcare, being that my family was all in New York. And I started working with my husband on it. How does that work? It just sort of became clear to me that people wanted more information about how I did it, and not really the actual thing. People really love the blog whenever I would talk about small business owners or something I was doing in small business that I was learning about. So I started to just mentor some of these people. And then I said, well, why don't I create a business out of that? So over the summer, I had my first group coaching program with 10 women. It went so well that I decided to do it again. So the shop has come along with us on this pivot. And our goal is really, honestly, just to help women design businesses that have a strong foundation. I see all the time women just kind of going into business and they don't have that strong foundation. They think it's, a website with the perfect color shade of pink or a logo that is perfect and they have to spend money on that. I'd rather them, do these other things that I think are going to sustain their business. So that's what we're really hoping.
I'm like newer in the whole business world than either of you two ladies, maybe with less experience in the research, but something I've heard and really resonates with me is what it means to be a brand. And so much of that is what people think of when they think of you. And that could be the true for just people in general. It's not the colors. And that was very like a new concept for me, but I love that that's what you see business through that lens. Like, how are people perceiving you and how are you putting yourself out there?
Yeah. I think what's important too on those, like along those lines, is that I think some people do it backwards nowadays. I'd love to hear, and I have so many questions for you, but I, as a web designer, see a lot of people that are trying to do it backwards. It's like, they want the site, they want this, they want that, they want to spend money. And I'm like, well, do you have content? What do you actually do? Do you know like what you want to provide? And can you like lay that out for me? Because if I'm going to build a services page for you, do you want to put pricing on your site? Do you have pricing? And these are things that people sometimes are like, oh, I didn't get that far yet. And that's where it's like, well, I could build this pretty site for you and I could build you a brand. It could look good. I can post for you on social media and make your business sound as successful as you'd want me to. And I think that's where people have that, like, well, fake it till you make it. But if they're doing that, then they don't have that foundation that you've talked about.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I do think, I mean, obviously those things are important and you do want your corner of the world online. But I think that when you don't look at a brand as what it can do for other people, your brand is not really about you at all. It's really about your clients. It's really about your ideal clients, I guess. It's really about the people that you want to come to your brand and what they're going to feel, what the transformation is. How did they feel before? Then when they got your offer, your product, or your service in hand, how did they feel after? And that can go for the free content, that can go for any of the things that you're selling. But really, that's what a brand is. So if you haven't done any of that kind of work on clarity of what you offer and what problems you solve and who you're actually trying to market to, and the struggles they have, then you kind of just, faking it till you make it, like you said, or like, just kind of shooting in the dark a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a background in business? I know you said you came from the education world, or is this all self-taught, self-learned?
It's pretty much self-taught, self-learned. I did watch my dad is a small business owner. He's a CPA. I did sort of watch that happen throughout my life. And then I did dabble in network marketing. But other than that, no, it's pretty much self-taught.
That's awesome. Because I feel like from what I know about you, from what I've researched about you, when we have a guest on the show, I always want to figure out a little bit about them. If it's not someone local, I did the search and I saw the brand and the website and all of that. But I loved, like Christine mentioned, I watched your video and I have been following you on social media, and I love that what you share is very valuable. It's very real, and it's not faking it till you make it. You haven't been doing this long, but you are sharing great information because you've taken the time to learn it. And I think that's the step that a lot of people skip. They're just like, well, I'm going to dive right in. And that's where I feel like nowadays, when it comes to finding a coach or when it comes to starting a program, I know we've mentioned her on our show before, but we both, Christine and I, really like Jenna Kutcher.
Oh, yeah.
Offers some solid business advice. And I think she did an episode recently, and it was all about finding a coach.
Oh, okay. I don't think I listened to that one.
Yeah. I don't know if that's exactly what it was called, but anyway, I listened to it because she just talks about how nowadays there's a lot of people that are very quick to call themselves a coach or to say that they do this or they do that. And it's well, before you spend all your money and sign up, learn a little bit about that person. And I feel like you do a great job of sharing your personal journey and putting yourself out there.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I really, people are investing and you need to have that personal connection. You even if we don't have any similarities, me and a potential client, she knows what she's getting. And honestly, that's good business to let people know what they're getting. So then there's no surprises.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit too about what that interaction is like when you're working with someone? I imagine that they are coming from a lot of different backgrounds, different business types, but what does a little bit about what that looks like for you to coach people?
Sure. Yeah. So I mainly work with women who are in the startup phase of their business, or sometimes I work with them and they don't know what they want to do. They don't know how they're going to make money. They literally have no idea. They only know that
first for a website and they had a pretty idea. And then you said, we'll find out your content first. And then they go to you.
Yes, pretty much. Yes. Or they get confused and they dabble in every other industry first. And then, so that's pretty much what happens. They come to me with this, just this need to change the life that they have now and to know that this is not what there's got to be more to this, right? That's what they say to me most of the time. So it is interesting to coach women like that because there is a lot of mindset and a lot of fear that goes into stopping them. There's a lot of obstacles that they have built that we need to kind of overcome them. So if they're in my group coaching program, I like to give them a kickoff call. I am very into time management and building systems. And I do believe, I don't care like what kind of, whatever walk of life you're on, you need systems in your life so that you intentionally go wherever it is you're going to go. So, it's really about teaching. It's really about being pretty slow. And it's about knowing how to sort of let them fall down and cry about it, but make sure that like use that gentle but firm push to get them back into, what Brene Brown calls the arena. Just get back in there. And it's a lot of cheerleading, to be honest. I was never a cheerleader, but I am now. I really consider myself one. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I think having a young child and not being so far away from pregnancy has helped a lot of pregnant women I work with. So I think that helps because there's a lot of changes going on, a lot of hormones, a lot of things, and a lot of just unknown territory for them.
So does your husband, he helped you when you were first starting with like the teas and the gift items and all of the stuff that you have at the nelsonshop.com. But on this site now, you do have a section for the coaching, and like the blog shares so many great resources and tips for these women that are, running their own businesses and doing these things. My question is, does he have a part in the coaching side of the business now, or is he strictly like the t-shirt guy?
He's the t-shirt guy, strictly, pretty much. So he's sort of the back end. He's sort of the technical side. So like right now we are rebuilding our website onto WordPress because Shopify's just not going to handle what we would like to have a membership site in the future. Shopify can't handle that. So he's sort of the lead on that. He talks to our t-shirt designer, so that we can get the products to be, the best quality and resolution that they need to be. He will come on with me. I do a lot of live videos in my community. He will come on, and he's a good sport about that. So he'll talk about what it's like to kind of support me in an entrepreneurial journey. So there have been things that he's had to take on that he normally hadn't had to take on before I started my business. So like the dishes. Every once in a while he takes them on because there is that, so we kind of talk about that sometimes. I probably do that with him a couple of times a quarter, just because I get new people in my community. So I want them to see, because I deal with that a lot with my coaching clients, the husband, partner, I should say, issue of like, they don't understand it, or they're not 100% on board, or there's finance issues. So he helps me with that. But other than that, I'm the one doing the coaching mostly.
Yeah. That's really cool that he's willing to like step in and like maybe talk about like how you guys juggle things, how you balance things, and like what his role is and how you support each other. Cause I feel like that's just so important. And that kind of leads to my next question I had for you. I was just going to ask, cause I could, I've shared a little bit on our show about how I juggle things. Christine is juggling things. But from somebody that you just said you love time management, so
I do.
Please like enlighten us with like how you find that balance between work, between your little one, and making time for your husband. Like what is a day, like a work day look like for you?
Okay, so a work day for me. So what I have to do is, because my goal is to be as present as possible with my daughter when she's home. She does go to preschool a couple mornings a week, but that's it. I did this for her. So I want to be as present as possible with her. And I also learned that if I'm not present in my job, I need to be present when I'm speaking to another woman, as a client, and I need to be present when I'm writing my content. I need to be present in both. So what I have to do is I have to wake up early. I just know that about myself. I'm an early bird, and I know that I'll feel so much more accomplished if I wake up before my daughter does and I get some stuff done. So I make sure that every time I do have some time to work, it is intentional time. So it could only be 40 minutes, but how much time do you really need to post on Instagram? And that's what my goal was for that 40 minutes. So it really is about, and that's what I tell my clients, it's about intentionality 100%. And it's about knowing what balls are rubber and that will bounce if you drop them when you're juggling, and what balls are glass. So, and everybody's balls are different. So like my daughter is a glass ball. I will not drop that. I will not pick her up because I'm on the phone with somebody from school. I will not play with her. But a rubber ball is my dishes. I'm sorry, but my dishes are a rubber ball, and it's not because my husband will take care of it. He will let it sit there as well. I mean, he has no problem. It's clearly a rubber ball for him as well. But dishes are my rubber ball. Going to the supermarket is a rubber ball for me. I'd prefer to have them delivered. So
yes,
I
feel like I've been smiling this whole time since you talked about like the juggling thing and like the visual, because I love visuals.
Yeah, me too. And that's, I think most adults and especially entrepreneurs learn better that way. Yeah. So yeah. And it's kind of freeing in a sense, because you're able to, if you can visualize like, well, is this a rubber ball or a glass ball? It's kind of like saying, is this a yes or a no? And if it's a rubber ball, it's probably a no.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just make sure it can be hard to try to keep that up. I just make sure I do a time audit, which is kind of like a food diary, except it's with time. So I just make sure that I'm not spending hours on like Instagram, for example, and I'm just like on Instagram to do what I have to do, and then I leave Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm with my daughter, it's more like, okay, are we going to do a puzzle? Are we going to do, and I'm all in. But if we're sort of like wandering around the house, like we're not sure what to do, then I'm like, well, where's my phone? I should probably check if someone messaged me or whatever,
Yeah,
So.
I get that. So does your daughter still nap?
She's starting to kind of not want to anymore. But I started calling it rest time a couple of months ago, because I'm like, she still has to like kind of stay in her room for like an hour, and even if I don't work, even if I do nothing with that time, I still need it, especially on the days where she's home with me the whole time, the whole day. It's really important. And it's important for her. She's, as of right now, an only child. So she needs that alone time. I know, because I'm an only child.
Okay.
And so is my husband. Yeah, we all need our alone time. Like only children need it because we're not used to being around people all the time.
I call it quiet time. Sometimes
quiet time.
My daughter needs quiet time in the morning. Sometimes she falls asleep. But even with a sibling, I find that that's really important for them to sit alone, and it kind of forces her to have to play and read by herself, which she's not going to do if I'm there with her, and that's an important skill. So,
it totally is.
We have quiet time sometimes.
Yeah. So I've been calling it rest.
I like that.
Like I dim the lights, I don't turn them off. She's got like books in there. So like, please God, like, can she please like take this on? Because sometimes she'll wake up after only an hour, but she'll stay in her room for a half hour, and then she'll call for me. So like, that's kind of nice. Like, an hour and a half is nice in the middle of the day. But typically, no, she does not really. She doesn't really nap.
I was just wondering, because that's the stage that I've been in with my girls, is like, as they've gotten older, like I used to work strictly from home, and then I would count on their nap time to do my work. And since that does not always happen anymore, it can be rough. But I get out of the house. I have an office away from home now, which has been a big help. So I always just like to get other women's take on that, because everyone does things differently, and everyone's kids are different too. So there are, I still have girlfriends who are able to get things done from home because they're like, oh, like, well, my kids are a little older, or like they're just different temperament, but mine are like wild children. So
when I have to say, when she's awake and around, it's go time. Don't try to look at anything else. Don't try to do anything else. She's good with like helping. So I can make dinner because she's helping.
Yes.
Which is taking everything out of the pantry, but it's fine. She's helping. And
she's in your eyesight. Like you're able to watch her.
Yes, exactly. She's in the room. She's not killing herself. It's fine. Yeah, we're good. So yeah, it's definitely, you're right about that. Everybody has a different, and even my clients, I'm like, well, your daughter's 2. She's not napping. They're like, no. I'm like, I don't know what to say to you.
Yes.
Why not?
Oh my gosh. Well, that would be a question for one of our previous guests. We had a sleep coach on the show a handful of episodes ago.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So if you need sleep tips, if your child should still be napping or you think they should, she had some great advice. So go back to that episode.
I am going to. She should be napping. She only does not sleep 12 hours at night. And that's apparently what she's supposed to be doing. But yeah, it is what it is.
Well, they all have their struggles. I feel like this is a great time for us to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about coaching, about how you got inspired to do that. And we're going to be sharing favorite things, which is always one of my favorite parts of our show. Okay, we've talked about this before, and one of the things I just love most is an organized space. I feel like when things are organized, I can get more done, I can find what I need, and I can just focus on the task in front of me instead of worrying about all of the other things. So we are so excited. This episode has been sponsored by Melissa Groff, owner of Namaste Organized. If you are local to Lancaster and you're looking for any help getting organized, whether you're a single parent doing it all, a blended family with a full house, or maybe you're an entrepreneur that's growing your business, a well-organized space will set you up for success and let you focus on the things that are most important to you. If you want some beautiful home inspiration and organizing tips, be sure to follow Melissa at Namaste Organized on Instagram. She offers a glimpse into her own life on a regular basis with practical tips and information for anyone that's looking to declutter. And we just want to say thanks, Namaste Organized, for sponsoring this episode. Be sure to check them out at namasteorganized.com. Welcome back, Thrivers. We're joined today by Allison Nelson. She is the founder and owner of the Nelson Company. Mm-hmm. And Allison is a business coach that specializes in helping women create a solid foundation for their business, whether it's a brand new business, whether they're just in that idea phase, or maybe they're rebranding and really trying to figure out what is most important to them in creating their ideal business and finding their ideal clients. So Allison, can you tell us a little bit about, if we were a client of yours, just some practical tips, maybe tips for finding, like you mentioned earlier, that ideal client?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the focus and clarity around what you actually want to provide to people and what problems you want to solve will help figure out which ideal clients you would like to target. So when I'm first working with a client, I like to make sure if they sort of have an inkling of what they'd like to do to make money or change their life, I sort of make sure that they are completely clear on what exactly their product or service is, what they want people to feel, and how they want to transform somebody's life. Like what problem are they really solving? And through those questions, you really can create a statement that says what you do. A lot of women entrepreneurs have a hard time telling people what they do, what their help statement is. So I believe that doing that work ahead of time is a really great way to create that help statement so that you can try it on for size. You could try it when people ask you what you do. You can try it, if you want to explain your idea to an investor, if that's what you need. Or anybody you want in your circle.
That reminds me of a workshop we did for a local business group, and the theme was pitching yourself, pitch perfect. And at the very beginning of the workshop, everyone had to go around and say what it was they did and why they were there. And even in that exercise, almost everyone could not articulate clearly or concisely what it was. And then we were all like, well, that's why we're here. And that task was not something I probably would have thought about, but how important it is because it captures so much of your business.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing is that, what I wish I knew was that if I had done this the first time, pivoting into coaching would have been a little easier because I would have just been able to go right back to that exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do ever feel like you want to pivot or you want to completely change businesses, the tips are the same. The work is the same. So that's why I call it a foundation, because that is really so strong, and you can build an ideal client on top of that. And then you can build an organic marketing strategy on top of that. And any of your questions that you have in your business can really be answered by going back to those things.
Mm-hmm. That's so true.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Rachel.
I was just going to say that's really true. I was going to ask you if you have read StoryBrand.
I am in the middle of StoryBrand. I listen to his podcast more than I have been able to get through his book because I'm taking notes on the book. So I can't just sit there and read it. I have to take notes on it. But I love his podcast. I love him. He's wonderful.
Yes. If you're just listening and you don't know what we're talking about,
yeah.
StoryBrand there's a book and podcast. It's Donald Miller, and it's incredible. If you are just launching or if you're, redefining your business, it's basically like a process. They walk you through like how to define your business, how to do what Allison just mentioned about defining like what your, what's your help statement? What do you help people do? What do you offer? And I was at a workshop recently where the women leading the session that I was at actually kind of took out like that whole statement, but like broke it down for you to like fill in, like, it was great because like, if you weren't sure how to say it, you could just plug in your information. Like, like we do this, we help that, so that this, I mean, that's not exactly it, but if you were just in a stage of trying to figure out like, what do I do? How do I help people? If you're doing anything that you're trying to make money off of, what is that? And I would totally plug that. It's not my favorite thing, but along these lines, it could be.
Right. And that's the thing. It's not people's favorite thing. It's not sexy. It's not fun. It's overwhelming. It's overpowering. A lot of women feel like they have to write it in stone. Like if I ask them to create their help statement, they're like, well, this, you can change it. You can ebb and flow. You just have to start with something. And honestly, if you don't start with something and don't start saying it out loud or typing it, then you're not going to know whether it's uncomfortable or not quite right. So you do need to, you need to go out there and you need to just use it. You need to just do it.
That made me think, my other question I was going to ask is, when people first come to you, so you have these procedures and steps that you take them through, are a lot of the women you work with eager, like chomping at the bit to try what you are helping them through, or are many of them hesitant and scared?
A lot of them are hesitant and scared. And it's funny because as a coach, you would think, I'm just going to filter out and only work with the ones that are like, yes, I'm coachable, I can do this. But I do find that if I feel like I know what their fears are or their limiting beliefs or where exactly I can break it down, then I do decide to work with them, because at the end of the day, everybody needs help. Everybody needs support. And I think that, so it is a lot of these fears. A lot of people are afraid to sort of niche down. They're afraid that, if I don't offer my product to everyone, probability, numbers game. And that's not necessarily, I'm not saying you niche down completely, but I am saying know who the person is that you're talking to, because your content means nothing if you don't hit them in the heart. And so you do need to know who they are. And, like, for example, me, I don't cater to men. I don't coach men. A lot of what I talk about, a man is not going to even understand it, let alone, feel it and want to work with me. So, and that's okay with me. I don't have to be everybody's coach. So I just have to change one person's life, and then I will go and help another person. It's one at a time, especially in the beginning.
So true. What's something else you would offer for somebody that like maybe they're in those growing pains, those beginning stages, and their issue is, managing their time? You mentioned that that's a big one for you. So like, what would be like a starting point for somebody that's just like, you can use me, for example. Say I didn't have an office or a place to work. And I was just like, oh my gosh, please help me. I have kids, I have a dog, and like, I can't find time for work, or I can't figure out, like, I just can't get anything done.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, definitely the environment is something that a lot of people struggle with. And I say, build a place that it could be the left side of your living room couch. I don't care what it is, but that's your place to work. And when you sit in that place, your family and that is your time to work. So you're intentionally creating that boundary of this is my time to work. And I do think a lot of women who have multiple children and have dogs and have other responsibilities, housework, or maybe their husband isn't home as often, they do feel like they don't have any time and there are no nooks and crannies in the day. And the truth is there are. So that's why I always have my clients do a time audit. It takes 5 days. I make them take 5 days over a weekend. So that they can kind of see what their weekends look like also, when maybe a partner is home or family is in town, things like that.
And then literally writing down from this time to this time I did this, and then I snack, and then okay.
Literally everything, like a food diary, everything but time. So yeah, you can break it down in half hours or hours throughout the day. So like I always say from 12 to 12. And you just write down every single thing you do. If you spent 45 minutes on Instagram, I want you to write that down. It's a lot. It's really kind of I don't know. It's kind of a reality check, I guess.
Yeah.
Because people can typically find, I can only find really 2 hours every day, pretty much, maybe 3. So it's really about, after finding that time, it's really about being intentional about what your goals are for your business and only making sure that you do those income producing activities. And, we can go into a lot of like batching and time blocking and all of that. And I do teach that to my clients. I do think that that's really, really important because life happens. And that's why we need to do this. I feel like a lot of women are like, well, life happens, so why should I plan for it if the baby's going to wake up anywhere? I'm not sure when the baby's going to wake up. I don't know how long it'll take me to pump. But actually that's why you should do it. Because if you don't want to lose track of your goals and you don't want to lose track of this new life that you want to build, then you really need to face the reality. And if you don't get to create a blog post on Monday when you thought that you could, then all you do is move that little square over to Tuesday or the next, hour block that you've created for yourself for work.
Yeah, I love that. So, I feel like being flexible is really important. That's definitely great.
Oh yeah. And grace. I mean, you have to have grace for yourself in this season. This is not for the weak. So
saying that you only help women because women, women are very different from men. I'm just picturing a lot of people crying. Do you, how, I'm sure you're very empathetic. Do you ever find yourself like really caught up in that or having to shift gears from the business to the like almost friend, I'm here for you, it's okay? Because I'm sure people like have a lot of come to Jesus moments with you.
They do. And there's a lot of crying. There's a lot of, and honestly, I do a fair amount of it to my coach. I have a coach. I feel like everybody should have one. And I do a fair amount of it to her. My daughter's 3. Some of the things that she does and says, it's like, you can't believe. And so my coach knows about that. I have to be comfortable with the personal because sometimes business is personal. And that is what's so great about being a mom boss is that sometimes it is that way. And we're really just finding our way with like what's business, what's personal, and how to create those boundaries. And that's what I teach my clients more than anything. And in order to walk the walk, I have to make sure that I have those boundaries also. So I did used to get really emotionally invested, but that would burn me out completely. So it's hard to do, but I do try to stay just as like Switzerland kind of. I just try to stay as, as even keeled as possible. Me crying is not going to help them. Me getting upset and saying, oh, well, we don't have to do this Instagram training tonight if you're not into it. No. Like,
you're doing it.
Yes, you can cry to me for 5 minutes and we can talk through it. And I'm going to tell you that everything's going to be okay and that this too shall pass, because that is absolutely true. And I'm not lying to you. However, if you showed up for the call, that means we're ready to work. So it's sort of, again, that like, I understand. I am here for you. That must be so difficult. I'm going to normalize your feelings, but I'm also going to take my hand and I'm gently going to push you back into the arena.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I love
will
that.
push you back.
I love like this, like tough love,
Yes.
because when you're trying to get someone to go somewhere at the end of the day, like sometimes people need it. And I feel like I just resonate with what you just said. One of the things I've loved in business is being part of a mastermind group, which I imagine might be similar to, I mean, if you're doing like a group coaching, I'm sure there's interaction among the people in your group. The neat thing about the mastermind I was in was that we met in person, and I know they're all very different. But yeah, we had some phases within our group where the person that facilitated had to just say, look, ladies, like, I know, like, you guys are all like, you've gotten close, you are friends on like, you're on a friend level, you're not just business acquaintances, but like, we need to keep our group chat here for business things, because as much as like we would want to be supportive of each other and things like that, sometimes it was tough when like, you had this great business idea and then like somebody took 5 minutes within your group chat to like sob about some completely unrelated personal issue that like I felt insensitive, because it was like, it's not that I don't care, but it's like, call me, text me, like, don't do it here. And as a coach, I'm sure you deal with things like that, people bringing things into the business world that maybe don't belong there. And I think that's the difference between men and women, is that men can what's the word I'm looking for? Compartmentalize.
Yes.
Us women, we just can't. So like when we're having a bad day, like we're having a bad day, and it affects, kids, it affects our routine. And then it follows us into our offices, because a lot of times our office is, like you said, on the couch. Like we don't even get the physical boundary to compartmentalize. I can't say that word today.
Yes.
That's such a big part of it and that's why like it's so much more difficult for us to do that, to separate the two.
It really is. And we don't want our businesses to suffer because of that. I mean, there have been plenty of times where I've had a hard parenting day and she finally goes down for the night or something. I'm like, okay, well, I have to do this Facebook Live. Do I really want to do a Facebook Live after I've had a hard parenting day? No, but I have to show up for my community because I said I would. And that's what's so important about being intentional. And that's why it's so important to do these time management systems and create these systems for yourself, because, yes, you can say I had a bad day. That's fine. Being a mom is hard on its own. That is very difficult. Having a life can get personal sometimes, and that is very, very hard. Life is not easy. But if you said you're going to show up for something, and that's what I teach my child too. If she said she wants to go to dance lessons and then doesn't want to go, I'm sorry. Too bad. You're going to dance lessons and you're going to try it. If after you try, you don't like it, great, we'll talk about it. But you're trying it because I paid for it and I took the spot because you said you wanted to.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell my clients. Like, you said you wanted to, you made this investment. I'm going to keep pushing you until you're like, Allison, go away. Like, oh my God, I'm never booking another call with you again. I'm like, okay, but
But they don't, because they need you. And we all need that person in our corner who, is going to be a good listening ear, but, set us straight. Like, we all need truth. So
right.
I love it. Now, I feel like we honestly could probably talk to you for another hour about this. Like, literally have notes on a Post-it that you just said, because it's so good.
Thank you.
But I would love to get into some favorite things.
Sure.
I have one. And besides all the things you've just been sharing, and I know Rachel is excited to share a favorite thing.
Yeah.
But Allison, do you want to start and have a favorite thing? What are you loving lately?
Yes.
What's been your jam?
So what we've been binging on around here is these fruit strips from Trader Joe's. They're like these fruit roll-up sort of things, but they're in a strip form. And they're just like Trader Joe's. They're not even another brand. They're just these Trader Joe's. So it's just like a healthier alternative to a fruit roll up.
Yeah.
And we have allergies in this house. My daughter has to be dairy free. So it's like a no allergen kind of thing. And it's nice because she can bring it to school. Her school is nut free. She's not nut free, but the school is. And so she's dairy free. So it becomes this a little bit difficult. What do I give her for a snack? And so we've literally though been binging on them. Like I've eten more than she has, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a fan of like guilt-free snacks.
They're good. I mean, if anybody's listening and has a Trader Joe's near them, you need to go. It's near the nuts, in the nuts section, and it's very good. So I'm binging on that. And yeah, I mean, I'm loving on my Valor essential oil. If anybody is a Young Living person.
Yes, I'm out of it.
Oh God, no, it's a temper tantrum like saver. That is the best stuff ever.
Really?
So, oh my God.
Yes. Jessie put some on my daughter's Lovey when she was here when she was fussing so much.
Mm-hmm.
She put like it on her Lovey and a little on her neck.
Yep. Yep. My daughter gets a drop on her wrist every morning before we go to school. Every morning we have school and I drop it on my wrist too. And we call it like our smelly oil. We both smell our wrists. And I say like, if you miss mama, you smell your wrist. And so she'll like do it. She'll go, a little sniff. And it really helps. I mean, it's awesome. So I was thinking about it today when I was preparing for this because I just ran out of it also. But I'm lucky I have somebody nearby that sells it. So I just go to her.
You have a supplier.
Yeah.
That's the worst, like an essential oil emergency.
Yes. Oh, it's so bad, especially when you're falling in love with something.
Yep.
Or like if you're sick, like eucalyptus, I always want that around because so I can add it to water on a boiling stove, like boiling water.
Yes.
And my husband, of course, this week got sick and I was like, where's my eucalyptus? And of course I have like 3 drops left. I'm like, what is this?
Emergency.
What is this
Have
like?
you tried the Inner Defense?
No, I haven't tried that.
Oh, I just got them because my friend let me borrow. It's the capsule and it's like oregano, something and something. Like you could make your own, but it comes a bottle of them, and I'll take it like every few days just to keep my immune system ready for the cold and flu season.
Yeah. Because this is the season.
Let me know how those are, Christine, because I have done since we're talking about oils, I've done the DIY version of those.
Yeah.
It's thieves, oregano, and what's the other one? It's like the girl that taught me how to do it was like, it's another heavy hitter. It's oregano, and was it like lemon? No.
Sounds like lemon.
Might have been lemon.
It kind of sounds like lemon.
But anyway, I did it myself. I took them when I was sick and they did help, but they gave me oregano burps.
Oh, that's going to happen. Yep.
Does that happen with the Inner Defense?
I think so because there is oregano in it, but I'd rather have like an oregano burp than a really bad cold. So, but
true. I thought maybe like the pills though would be like mixed differently or something. I was going to.
It might be a little bit less intense.
That's a pro.
I know.
I love this.
When my husband was sick recently, my friend gave him some and told him to take like 3 in a day. And he will say his cold went away like soon after that. So I would suggest it. This wasn't even on my list.
I'm writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing it down.
That's so funny. I'll share my favorite thing. Or do you want to go next?
Well, I have 2 and one of them is an oil one. So I'll do that. And then you go. I was cutting onions. I shared this on social media. I was cutting onions and I was like, there has to be an oil to help with this. A bowl of room temperature water and some clove oil. Oh. And they said, just put it out on the counter with your onions. And I would like huff it a little bit, cut my onions, and I didn't cry.
Oh my God.
Ladies.
Wow.
Game changer.
Okay? See, I use frozen onions for that reason because I can't.
Frozen onions.
I only use frozen. I only really use frozen vegetables at all ever.
Okay, well try if you're in a vegetable emergency.
Yeah.
Try clove.
Clove. I do have clove. Okay.
And just smell it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Huh? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay, Rachel, go ahead.
This is not an oily thing. My favorite thing of the week is actually I'm a Mrs. Meyer's fan. All of the cleaning, all of the scents. The company.
Your friend.
Talk about it like Mrs. Meyer's is like my best friend. At Target, they have the whole new line of Mrs. Meyer's fall scents. And there's like an acorn spice. There's like an apple cider? I just bought like a whole bunch. I use the dish soap and the hand soap. And I don't like do candles because I do essential oils. But for just like the everyday stuff, I just think they smell great. And I really feel like they get my dishes clean. Like I just don't love the smell of Dawn or like some of those other, like the palm olive. Like the thing I don't like about them, I've realized over time, is that they make my like scrubbies and my dishcloths smell bad. It's like when I'm using Dawn or when I'm using something, it's like, oh, it smells okay at first, but I've realized it's like the after smell. So since I've switched to like Mrs. Meyer's or another, like an all natural, I think Target has a couple other like natural brands. But, and I've used the Thieves dish soap too, but yeah, any of those, like the more natural ones, I've noticed they don't leave like a stinky, like I never have like a stinky rag like that. Yeah. So favorite thing is good smells and fall smells.
Yeah.
I love good fall smells. I had one other favorite thing that was not oil related was my husband just got a spiralizer and to do like zucchini noodles.
That's like the veggetti. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
He got one of those. And I watched him use it the other day. It's fascinating. It's the coolest thing because we're trying to do like low carb, not no carb, but like low carb in our diet. Right. And so those zucchini noodles have been great. And it was just, so like quick for him to spiral up those veggies and cook them. And I mean, it doesn't taste like spaghetti, but it doesn't. It
doesn't. But it is nice to have that little gadget. Yeah. I eat a lot of cucumbers, but sometimes I get sick of just like eating them the way you cut them up, like a disc. So I put them through that spiralizer actually.
And then what do you do with them?
Yeah. And then I put like grilled chicken over it and I almost eat it like a salad. Like, you know, like I pretend the cucumbers are like the lettuce, or I put it over lettuce or something, just so it's different. Yeah. It's not like little cubes or little like circles.
There's a lot of pretending going on in my low carb diet. Like,
you have to pretend.
Exactly. It doesn't.
No, it never does.
This tastes like real rice. No, it's cauliflower.
Yeah, exactly. No, that does not.
I love cauliflower rice. Cauliflower rice is a good cheat if you need something to like replace.
It is good.
I've been doing a lot of that.
It's just rice.
It just doesn't taste like it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I just made my daughter a cauliflower pizza. They have it in the frozen section now.
Oh.
Have you noticed that? Yeah, they have. It's called Just the Veg or something like that. And it's cauliflower crust, but it's frozen crust. So you can literally just take it out of the freezer. I'm obviously a freezer person. You take it out of the freezer and you just put whatever on it. Like I put some pulled pork that I had done in the crock pot and some like dairy-free cheddar cheese and stuck it in the oven for 13 minutes or something. And it was great.
That sounds awesome. Was that a Trader Joe's find? Because when you were talking about Trader Joe's fruit roll-up or whatever, I got really excited because I haven't been to a Trader Joe's in forever. I wish that Lancaster had a Trader Joe's.
Maybe I knew of that when I lived in New York, but we just got one near me, like only like 15 minutes away. It hasn't even been a year. So it's still a novelty around here. Yeah. I haven't seen it at Trader Joe's, but that doesn't mean they don't have it. I've seen it everywhere else though. We have Stop and Shop here. It's there. We have something else called Big Y, which I'm pretty sure you guys don't have.
No.
But it's kind of like just a supermarket that's kind of family owned throughout Connecticut and I think Massachusetts. Okay. And I've really seen it everywhere. I've seen it at Stu Leonard's. You guys don't have a Stu Leonard's though. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I would just go to like I think the big supermarkets have it. It's called Just the Veg. I think something like that.
Amazon Fresh probably has it. And
they probably do.
Listening can probably get it from Amazon Fresh because Amazon owns the world at this point.
It's true.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. I feel like we could chat kids and frozen food. We could chat essential oils and business stuff all night long. Yeah. But we have kids to get back to, and we want to respect your time. So, Allison, thank you so much for joining us. And can you tell people where they can find you and how they can get connected?
Sure. So our website is thenelsonshop.com. And you can find out all the information there about what's new, the new products, and any new coaching programs that I have out. You can follow me on social media at the Allison Nelson, and you can find me on Facebook too at the Nelson Shop.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, Rachel and I have already taken away so much from what you shared here. So we just really appreciate you being available to us and our listeners for all that you shared with us.
This was so much fun. Thank you for giving me I feel like I had a fun night out, so I appreciate it.
I love that.
Close. It's a win.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Allison. And listeners, we thank you for joining us here, and we hope that you were encouraged by what Allison had to share. And if you didn't get the message already, I'll remind you that you are doing amazing.
Thank you so much for listening today. You are a part of a growing community of moms, business owners, and women who are here to encourage and inspire. You can connect with Rachel at Rachel Klein Creative on Instagram or rachelkleincreative.com. To keep up with Christine and her latest events, follow her business journey on Instagram at Bellenberry Co. And if you want to be first to know about upcoming guests and giveaways, sign up for the Thrive Podcast email list today. Simply visit rachelkleincreative.com/The Thrive Podcast or follow at The Thrive Podcast on Instagram. If you've enjoyed listening this week or you've already added our show to your favorites playlist, we'd love for you to write us a review on iTunes. Your support and positive feedback allows us to keep encouraging moms and business owners each week.